the issue here. And with that, it gets the widow.
It's just the cream, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
So this is how Elimelech works on getting this all cleared up, and so then he goes on to marry Ruth, and from that you have the genealogy at the very end. We're good?
I have a question about the close relative thing.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I got fairly close with the first cousin. And close enough that she mentioned, she said, we can't get married. And we were in Virginia at the time, and I said, well, in Virginia, I don't think it's illegal. But in the United States,
Yeah.
close relatives, you can't, some states it's illegal to marry your close
Right.
relatives. But apparently not in the
Well, it wasn't marrying the relative, it was marrying the widow, the close relative.
Yeah, so it's like if your spouse dies, then you're marrying the relative, the closest relative of that spouse, not your relative.
Okay, that isn't, but otherwise it's not preferred?
You have a list. It's not until about, I think, second or third cousins that you're allowed. You have the whole list of incestuous relationships back in Leviticus.
Okay.
If you follow that out, you can't marry your brother, your sister, your mother, your mother-in-law, steps, and several. The brother of this, that, your cousin, your uncle's children. They're all out.
There's reason for that. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
Genetically, yeah.
genetically, yeah.
Is that in the Muslim religion as well?
I have no idea about what's on there. Read the Quran.
Actually, my son brought it home from college, and I started reading it. It's not good reading.
It's an interesting book. So anything else on so far?
I would just like to know, just to go with the point about marriages in the Old Testament, there was like a harem, there was more than one wife to a man, and at what certain stage was it only one man, one woman? When did it get to be bigamy?
Sure.
Well, it's never bigamy. Bigamy, by definition, means one woman with multiple men. Just saying, that's bigamy. Here you have polygamy, which is one man with multiple women. It seems that the biblical ideal was one man, one woman, hence Genesis, the creation account, right? God doesn't make Eve and Ruth, and he makes Adam and Eve. For some reason, though, the Bible never denounces openly, ever, polygamy. The only thing you have is when Paul says those who are going to be elders should only be a husband of one wife.
Right. Doesn't Jesus clarify it in the Gospels?
He says that when dealing with divorce, he says it wasn't this way in the beginning, and then he quotes the Adam and Eve thing, but he never says one wife there either. The early church, you look at the early church fathers, they accepted polygamy as a practice within the church. It wasn't until like through the 400s that the Christianity started outlawing polygamy. I'm just. And Judaism about the same thing. And what you had already though in the earliest church fathers, they would tell you that while God allowed it, it's not the biblical ideal. And if you look biblically, you'll find out that it's a really bad idea.
All the troubles that occur as a result.
Yeah, between the wives, between the sons.
Right. Hello.
Yeah.
So don't get any ideas, guys.
Well, the Bible does say that you need to respect the laws of your nation, so.
I like that. That's right.
Thank you.
Very good. South Africa, very entertaining.
Oh, really?
Really?
They allow polygamy in South Africa?
Yeah, so it's a long story.
Anybody want to relocate to South Africa?
It depends on your skin color.
Okay. Why does that not surprise me?
Before you get started, I want to make one comment about Ruth. I always find it very refreshing to think about Ruth laying down her life when she could have gone on and done something else. And if you think at that moment that she had any clue that there was hope for her to have a second chance at marriage or life for children, there was not.
Yeah, that's the final thing I showed and thought about was we had this, it's back in chapter 1, this statement of fidelity in 1:16.
I love it.
Yeah, like, so Naomi, he really never lives up to her name. You realize that Naomi means pleasant in Hebrew, and she's not a pleasant lady throughout this entire book. Yeah, and that she really should have, because she was. I mean, even the way she took advantage of Ruth in the end. You know, like, she wasn't trying to get Ruth married for Ruth. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
She was trying to get Ruth married for her own sake. It appears that it's quite possible, even in the Hebrew it's a little bit ambiguous, that Boaz may have wanted to marry Naomi as well. Yeah, well, it's a long story. In order for that whole thing to work out, just, you know. But she says, "Do not urge me to leave, return back and follow you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus may the Lord do to me worse, if anything but death parts you and me." From this is actually where Christianity took the marriage vows,
Yes.
which is always kind of weird to me. But so
Well, the comment I'd like to make though about that, and women, you would know this if you weren't married and you knew that there was no chance at something, and you knew that you're going to follow someone and help them out and lay your life down. And I think the laying down of one's life is what God calls us to do. And it's not about fame or fortune, because she had no idea she was going to marry somebody, somebody so incredible, and let alone be in the lineage of Jesus. So I think, to me, that's what God calls us to do, to lay our lives down and to follow Him. And it's not about fame or I'm this or I'm that, or I have, hope, but I'm following a Savior, and this is what I'm doing with Jesus. I mean, I really feel that with all my heart, that we're following Him unto death, and that's the call. Now, whether you're famous or the next Benny Hinn or whoever you are, that's not the goal. And I know we think a lot about that in this place, but it's bigger and deeper and broader than that. And that's real faith, I think. Anyway, that's my opinion.
yeah, that's a good point.
God saw her heart too. He could trust her.
And he gave her the platform.
Well, with this one, with Ruth, I mean, she actually makes it into the lineage of Jesus. She's named in the lineage of Jesus. There's only
You women.
and they're all scandalous.
Yeah,
Rahab, Tamar, Rahab, Bathsheba, or Ruth and Bathsheba.
Yeah.
None of them are without scandal. You realize that. Okay. Any other questions before we go over to Esther?
Do we need a break? A 5 to 2 minute break? You guys want a break, or you want to pile on through and just end the day?
I can get another bag of peanuts.
We can it is 1:29.
You want to take a break?
5 minutes.